Hello guys, welcome to the Train Parrot. Let's do a very quick update on XRP Ripple. On the weekly time frame, we can see that we are still below this downward sloping resistance. That's keeping us definitely below the $2.2 so far. The RSI weekly seems to be doing anything that is possible to break out since around mid-May that we are attempting to do that, but we are just getting dragged down below the resistance. That is being reflected on the price. Current support sits at around $2. My actual band of support goes from the 2.1 into the 195, give or take. Some of the things that I'm looking at when I see the chart of XRP is the longs versus shorts that is approaching every single day a little bit more towards the sweet spot, what I usually call the area of value at this support at 42. At that point, we can see that there has been a significant decline of the longs. If you're new to the channel, that is something bullish. Actually, we could see the longs versus shorts decline slightly below the support. That can happen, but as long as we remain against this trend line, we should be expecting a breakout towards the percentiles where the longs are having a massive party. I like to accumulate XRP in areas of values where there is a quieter space, less longs, less socials. So let's go into the socials and let's see how things are going. On 19th of May, we were very close to the low band and we are now bouncing up, but still not getting into the median. That means that things are still pretty quiet on XRP at 3.5% of social dominance, at least relative to the bands and to the moving averages, but not necessarily as low as the 21st of October, which was the starting point of everything for the rally of XRP. At that point, this coin had a social dominance of 0.3%. That is 10 times less than what we have now. So it's all relative. We are low relative to the past months, but we are pretty high relative to where we usually start a rally. So the question is, does XRP now need to see another flash of the longs and get it into a more quiet territory before heading back up? Let's look at the news as well. Headline, and we have an 8, 7, and 6 from bullish to moderately bullish news. 3iQ launches XRPQ, first spot XRP ETF in Toronto Stock Exchange. That is from the 18th, but I think we read already this news. We got also Purpose Investment list XRPP spot XRP ETF with CAD hedge share class. That's a second Canadian issuer joining the market for same day, amplifying the ETF driven flows and signals growing competition to accumulate physical XRP for creations, tightening exchange float. We got a 6 out of 10. This is the most bearish news we currently have. This one is published today on the 19th. Ripple quietly mints 10 million RLUSD stable coins as US Genius Act advances, and is qualified as a 6 because fresh RLUSD supply hints at an impending rollout of Ripple's USD peg stablecoin. Every dollar onboarded on XRPL can create additional settlement demand for XRP and strengthens the network's utility narrative. Looking at the liquidations on the daily, I have placed the head and shoulders, in this case that belongs to XRP. We have one on Bitcoin, on Cardano, and in a bunch of assets going on at the same time. After all, they are pretty couple assets, but this time the head and shoulder has a slope ascending. If you ask me, I will say an ascending puts it more into a bear flag rather than a bull flag. The more descending the pattern, the more it looks like a descending wedge, which is actually bullish. But, well, we could also say it's a symmetrical triangle. If we place it like this, patterns are always in the eye of the beholder. Sitting at 2.1, you can see that we have these liquidations right below the price. Similar to ADA, we have 3 layers of liquidations, one at $2, 1.9 and 1.8, and then a decline. But here we are not including 3x. Let me include 3x. And the biggest risk for XRP remains at $1.5. That is if we were to hit the smartest traders that usually go for 3x only, located in here. If we want to just wipe those degens at 10x, 25x or more, a low hanging fruit route could be just to hit $2, slightly lower at 194. At that point, we take them all out. And if you do believe that what we need is a wipe of the lows with continuation to the upside to later go back into $2.7 or the compromise level that we have in here of 236, then we could do a liquidity hunt to take all of that before going up. Definitely the pieces are on the board ready to play that trick. So far we have been putting lower lows, so the bears also have a decent argument to say, well, maybe we're going to $15, but I think to get into $15, price is not taking the decision by itself, and it really needs Bitcoin to puke so he can mimic his friend and puke like if they were longtime buddies. Let me know in the comments what you think for XRP. I personally think that this is the highest likely scenario. It wouldn't be that difficult if Bitcoin goes slightly below to 100k to take the $2. It's just too easy. And with the Bitcoin hitting closer and closer to an all-time high, XRP is really begging to take the $2.7 too. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.